nights, and then Fortuna 3 nights, Monteverde, San Luis de Monteverde 2 nights, and then San Luis.
All right, this is Costa Rica, the first part of this series, and I have to say it was amazing. Saw a lot of species, and this is gonna be the first kind of real day of herping.
What is those? What's that? Those are later. He's taking a picture of it. I don't know the name of them.
First stop, we found this iconic red-eyed leaf frog. They were everywhere in certain areas, and honestly, it was one of the dream frogs I wanted to see.
Sí. La agarro, está ahí. No, hombre, ya no la agarras ahí. Sí, la agarro. Aquí hay quien me va bien. Pues eso que la baja. Ahí está bajando ahí. Va, es que el aire acondicionado. Oh, man. Vieras que tiene un honguillo allá a la orilla, sí, ya sí. Lo vi. Véalo ya. Ah, sí. Tengo que llevárselo al mar para que lo limpie.
Next frog was a green and black poison dart frog. This is the only place we actually found them, so it was a real treat.
Wow. Okay.
All right, not a herp, but really cool. These are Honduran white bats, or 10 making bats. One of the species of bats that make tents on the leaves. Really cool. Now this is real cool. These are crown tree frogs. They get the name crown because they have these, like, I don't necessarily call them spikes, but around the crown of the head, but really cool. Another species to the list is the strawberry dart frog. Actually, in this part of Costa Rica where I was, they actually call them blue jean frogs. They call strawberry frogs in a different locality because they have different morphology. But these were the most common poison dart frogs I would see on this trip. Actually, the two that you saw were the only two species of dart frogs I would see on this trip, but awesome. All right, we had to take a four-wheel vehicle to get to our next place where we'll be staying for a few nights, and wow. All right, my dad and I decided to take a hike to see what kind of lizard we can see, but first, here's some birds. Yeah, so we saw a bunch of these Central American webtails, but only this day. We didn't see them at all the rest of the trip. You know, close related to tegus and race runners back in North America, but I don't know why we didn't see them the rest of the trip, but I'm glad we did get a chance to see them today. And this is actually young juvie. Later we see a big adult, but yeah, they were just hunting and out basking. And this guy's about to take off right about now. And yeah, we get to see more, but I'm glad we did when we did. Next lizard of the day was this really young juvenile ground anole. These guys were everywhere, most common anole I've found, and they were more terrestrial than other anoles. Now here's another Central American webtail, a big adult. This one actually ate a big roach before we got there. I wasn't able to get him filmed, but wow, this guy was more cooperative than any of the webtails. Most of them take off, right? You see them.
Can you see it?
I saw a few of them.
Oh, there's one of them there.
Yeah, they're jumping around. This is one way to relax until nightfall. Do we go out looking for stuff at night? Pretty good day, and it's not over yet, so I'll see you until maybe after dinner. So, catch you later. Alright, the most common lithobates that I saw, or rana, is the Fer-De-Lance frog. They were absolutely everywhere in the rainforest. It wasn't until I got to other places in the country where I saw all the species of lithobates, but that's for another time. Another frog I was able to find shortly after dinner is a pygmy rain frog. These can be ID'd by this kind of small line that goes to the nostril all the way down past its ear to the kind of like the cheek area, I guess, near the ear. But really cool. And this is where I sleep. And the first snake, and I was hoping to find, is a traciopello, or also known as the Fer-De-Lance, snake that causes the most deaths in Costa Rica. But fatalis has gone down, but still don't want to get bit when you're nowhere near civilization. But I'm so happy about this.
Okay.
Like I said, Fer-De-Lance frogs are everywhere. Here's a younger one, just shortly after that Fer-De-Lance. I mean, like seconds. Next snake is this young ring tree boa. A snake that was in my radar, but wasn't sure I was good to see, and there's a young one. And it climbed this tree. Sorry, I was kind of far away, and even you have the right lens, during nighttime, it's not the best, to take video. And then a couple of minutes, we found another ring tree boa. It's that little white thing in the middle of the screen, or was in the middle of the screen, but yeah, and this one was another one, an adult, so whew. Next snake, and the last snake of the night, is a mottled snout eater. They eat snails and slugs, obviously how it got its name. And there's a few species, but this is the only species I found in Costa Rica and the only specimen I found. I was a little disappointed. I was hoping for a cloudy, but you know, you get what you get. And another really common frog I found is a common tink frog, ID'd by the line in the eyes.
Cool.
And then shortly after, we found this dwarf glass frog. If there's any classification of frogs I really want to see in Costa Rica, we're glass frogs. They got their common name, glass frog, based on transparent skin. Another common frog we saw on this trip was Atlantic broadhead litter frog. Believe it is a frog. It looks like a toad and very prehistoric looking, but they're absolutely everywhere in the leaf litter and sometimes on leaves and stuff like that. But ooh, that's a cool looking frog. Another cragaster species we saw that night was the Noble's mask litter frog, another cragaster, and they hide their face for some reason. Alright, this was cool. One of the rarest things I saw on this trip is a velvet worm. Just so secretive, and they love humid and hiding in dark areas, but we were able to find this guy, and wow. Now, the second anole species we saw on this trip is a brittled anole, or called the giant green canopy anole, one of the largest species of anoles in Costa Rica. Not the largest, you'll see that later in another vlog, but still really cool. And then we get one of my main targets for lizards, the helmet iguana. Believe it or not, even though the common name is iguana, they're actually in the same class as basilisks. And here's another broadhead little frog. A better look at it, and you can see how it really looks close to a toad, but it isn't a true toad, it's a frog. But they're just so interesting looking. And then there was the adult crown tree frog. You see this really cool pattern behind, and I had to say, I know why people say these are one of their favorites to find, and I can't disagree. And the last thing we saw tonight was a Leafler Toad. These things camouflage with leaf litter better than most frogs. Most of the time I walk right past them. Luckily there's my dad right behind him. But that is it for this vlog.